What do you think is most important? You mentioned like move 4 years into 4 months.
Yeah.
For somebody, what are some of the specifics they should be looking for if they want to accelerate that timeline so fast?
Yeah. So you need like proactive training, I would say, not just like if it happens to happen to me, then I'll learn it. We need to be proactive.
For sure.
Training. You need someone to guide you, like shadow, mentor opportunity. You just need to see it in action to kind of take it from the textbook to real life, for sure. Yeah. And then, it does take some time to build up your own business. And so I think having some kind of lead system or lead opportunity is very helpful.
Welcome to the Justin Landis Show, your real estate podcast about having conversations, building relationships, and creating freedom. I'm your host, Justin Landis, and today I'm here with my guest, Jarrod Thomas. Jarrod, thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Justin.
You've been here for a long time. We first met in 2008. You were 20 years old and had just gotten your real estate license.
That's right.
What prompted you to do that? Tell me, set the scene for 2008 in college, real estate license.
Yeah, so I got my license when I was in college. And, this was back in 2007. So my original plan was to get my license to get a better summer internship. And anyway, when I went after a summer internship that summer, I got connected to a guy named Rich Richardson, high producing individual agent in the residential space, obviously. And anyway, I liked him. He brought me on as his summer intern. And so away we went.
And that was the beginning of it all. So then I started working with Rich and we met, and a lot changed between 2007 and 2008. So we had a little bit of a different setup come summer 2008.
Yes. So summer 2007, I was like, man, this is the greatest job ever. Like, everybody's making tons of money. Like, everyone seems really happy. I went back to school, came back summer of 2008. That's when you and I, Rich connected you and me. A lot different vibe in the office.
Because the market had crashed, for anybody who didn't remember that. Correct. I mean, absolutely crashed.
Yeah, and again, I'm 20, 21. I didn't really understand what was happening, but I knew enough to know, this isn't great for most of the people here. So,
And so the market isn't good, and you were in college for the first year or two we were together.
Yep.
But then you made the decision during a down, bad market to continue in real estate, even though it wasn't boom times anymore. I mean, walk us back through that decision, how you decided to go right from college into real estate.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I knew a few things. I knew for sure that I didn't want to have a corporate job. I didn't want to have a traditional 9-to-5. I didn't want someone else to dictate my income or my freedom, all the stuff. And so I did know that. And I felt like of all of the things, I've been interested in real estate for a long time. Growing up, a few people I knew that were, successful where I was were in real estate. So I kind of just was into it for a while. And then, I think when you and I were working together, I would love to say this was great strategy, and maybe it was, but the two groups of people who were actually doing business, transacting real estate at the time, were investors, which I was interested in, and first-time homebuyers, which at that time, people in their 20s were first-time homebuyers. And so that was kind of in our collective wheelhouse, I felt like.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the big takeaways from that for me. It was the market of the moment. That was the market of the moment. I mean, it was either bank-owned, short sale, investor, or first-time homebuyers. And we knew a lot about...
We did it all,
We did it all. We turned the water on in the bank-owned properties when the utilities were off. I'm out with the water tool outside. You're yelling in the house that the house is leaking.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That is right.
That kind of glamours what really cemented it for you, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think the statute of limitations is over on that, so I think we're good to talk about that.
All right. So when you came on after college and worked full-time, I mean, I was selling houses, had a pretty good business, and you were doing a little bit of everything. Do you remember what you were actually doing?
That's just what I tell people is I did a little bit of everything. I think I've done everything you can do. I was doing paperwork for sure. So, I mean, in today's parlance, I would say I was doing some transaction coordination. I was doing some listing management. I was a showing assistant.
Running all over the place.
I was running all over the place. The real estate industry is historically a little slow to adapt to technology, so we had to physically do a lot of things, get checks and things of that nature. But I was going to inspections, all kinds of stuff.
And then you realized you wanted to be a real estate agent because you did that for a little bit, but then this is part of your progression. You grew on to the next step. How was that transition? You were really young when you did this to become a full-time real estate agent at a young age.
Yeah, I was young, and I mean it was super helpful to have the consistency of the income, because I was doing probably a few deals per year those first couple of years when I was working for you. But it was nice to have kind of both.
Well, then when you went out on your own, I mean, that took like a big step to go from having that salary to I'm going to sell houses, but I'm young and the market's still not great.
Yeah, that's true for sure. I don't think I fully thought it through, but you just kind of have a general sense of like, I feel pretty good about my pipeline. I feel like I know what I'm doing now. I have a good network. More and more of my friends and people are starting to buy houses. So, it was kind of a gut thing, but it just felt right at the time.
Yeah. And so did that. And then when we officially started the Justin Landis Group, you came on, be a part of that initial group. It was you and Ashton and Amanda we had on the initial group. What do you think from that beginning as you look to that part of your career? Because I feel like your career also really took off at that point too.
It did, yeah. I mean, it was kind of the perfect storm. I felt like the foundation we were laying for probably 3 or 4 years timed with hiring, coming together with 3 or 4 great people all within a few months. And then the market shifted positively. I mean, all of that happened in like probably a 3 to 6 month period, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I mean, it was just like pouring gasoline on the fire, basically. I think all of those things.
I think you used a lot of gasoline. Do you remember how many miles you drove that first year?
I don't know if it was the first year, but one year I did track, and it was like 44,000 miles or something. I was doing it for tax reasons to get, the mileage deduction. I was like 44,000 miles. But yeah, I sold houses in 6 counties. I sold like 40 houses. So we were very relationally driven. And so we would just go wherever the relationship was.
And your first role on the team was buyer's agent.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, at my peak, I would say I was doing probably 40 to 50 buyers, helping 40 to 50 buyers per year myself.
What is the big learning as you look back on that? I mean, that is a massive number. And this is back, a lot of people rode with this back then. Like they'd physically be in the car.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You had to like go to Starbucks to write up a contract. You weren't doing it on your phone.
That's true. Yeah.
Like what was your takeaway of doing that many buyers?
Yeah. Well, I got to learn a ton, which was awesome. And I guess in hindsight, working a lot and really grinding and that sort of thing. Yes, it was a long 4 years in a lot of ways, but also it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot in a relatively short amount of time. And I didn't really think that helped me set myself up for a lot of opportunities in the future. Yeah. It would have taken me 15 years probably to sell 250 houses.
Exactly. Doing 200 houses in 4 years. Yeah. I mean, that's a career.
For sure.
For a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you had taken the jump, been on the team. You start to just say, yes, I'll take these clients. I'll move forward. And I'm curious, like your advice to somebody else, because I don't think it was like your grand plan of like, I'm going to sell, drive 44,000 miles and sell all these houses. But you kept saying yes and doing it. What would you learn from that? And what advice would you give to somebody who's in that point of their career where they could do something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like one step at a time. I've heard like the view changes based on where you are. So as you move along, you'll feel better and better about what you're doing. And so yeah, I mean, that wasn't part of my grand plan. But I think just surrounding yourself with people that you like working with, I mean, it was fun. I think.
It was fun.
And so that was like part of it. And so it's like, if it's hard work, but it's fun, it doesn't feel like hard work, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then your path, because you've done a lot of different things, your path kept changing. I mean, you sold those houses, but then you started mentoring other agents on the team. And how'd you decide to do that? Because I mean, a lot of times in this industry, you take an income step back if you want to get into training or leadership or that sort of thing at first. Yeah. Because as opposed to selling houses, you can't sell as many houses if you're doing that.
Right.
How did that all work out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you want to do something great or new or fun is like there's a risk involved. And so there's like risk involved in getting into sales for the first time.
Yep, that's good.
But there's also risk involved in taking maybe a small step back or a side step.
Jarrod, you're talking about saying yes to things and taking, any opportunity that came. That's definitely what we did at first. And I was thinking back, I'm curious if you remember some of the things that we did that were scrappy early on, that now you look at it and you're like kind of crazy. You have any recollection of
that? Yeah, for sure. I mean, first of all, we found out like what is the minimum commission? Like even Bank of America felt so bad. They're like, here's $1,500, which is the minimum commission.
They're like, what's 3% of $12,000? Well, that's not enough. No one's going to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. So we did find out it was $1,500, but that included like we'd have to like ride around and physically deliver like checks because they wanted us to be cashier's checks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Then you go up to the closing at the McCalla Raymer, the bank owned off. These are all the bank owned closings.
Going to the DMV or something basically.
Yeah, they'd lock lock the doors behind you because people, it's like they're selling foreclosed houses. And we're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
The security level here to buy this $18,000 house seems really high.
I forgot about that, but yes, that is right. Yeah.
We had some fun utility times, I recall.
That's right. Yeah. So that utilities were almost never on these houses. But people needed to know if they were working. So we turned the water ourselves on and
put the electric in our names, our personal names.
Why not? Yep. Offer $1,200.
All for a $1,200 commission that we're splitting.
Correct. Yeah. You're paying me out of that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Justin with a quick market update. We're going to get back to the podcast in just a second, but I want to let you know that houses are sitting on the market longer than they have for a while in Atlanta. Unless you got A-plus property in an A-plus location, something like Morningside or Milton, you are seeing longer times. So it has never been more important to hire a Justin Landis Group agent. You can go to justinlandisgroup.com to get connected and find the agent who will serve you the best. Now let's dive back into the podcast. Yeah, but as you think back on that, how do you think that helped us build trust with clients and build our business? Because I feel like those things we did, people really valued and it made a big impact long term.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, it set a phenomenal foundation for getting future referrals.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think the other thing, I really think this is like a momentum business. And so I think just like doing anything to stay active, to stay busy, you just never know. Once you kind of get in that I'm working today mindset, I don't know, just stuff starts happening.
Man, that is so true. The referrals have started to snowball at some point, and that's really what helped the business take off. Was the referrals snowballing? And then I also think back to scrapping. One thing we did those first couple years at JLG that I think anyone can benefit from and really helped us was being in the office, you and Ashton and I, actually lead generating.
Yes, for sure.
Actually really doing it.
Yes. We actually did do it.
Actually did it. It's not just talking about lead generating. We actually did it.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that was? What were you doing to actually lead gen?
I think we did it Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, if I remember correctly, for a couple hours. Honestly, the great thing about it is I don't really remember. But I know I did it. And so you don't have to necessarily do it forever. Yeah. But you can build a foundation, as a short-term thing, potentially. You need to be doing some, obviously, forever. But, it's going into the office to do it. It can be a short-term thing. To kind of like get your business started, Yeah.
Then we had exponential growth after doing that for 2 years. The business was in a completely different place, which on one hand seems long. It's like, hey, 2 days a week for 2 years, that is a grind. It's not really that long in your whole career, though. 2 years to set yourself up.
Exactly.
This is huge.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, Jarrod, we've made, it's come a long way from those early stories. You became a partner at JLG. You were lead buyer's agent and then in charge of sales. Now you're running the day-to-day of it. You've brought in so many agents, trained so many agents. Yeah. We launched Bolts together. As you look back on your career and all those agents that you've helped, if you were giving someone advice or if you were starting now, what would you do now if you were starting based on what you've known and this path you've been down?
Yeah, for me, it's like I love to help people take that 4 or 5 year journey I just talked about into like 4 or 5 months maybe. And this is going to sound crazy, insanely simple. But the very first thing I do, if it was like day one on the job, I would get a list of everyone I know in one place. And you don't need a CRM, just Google spreadsheet's fine. And meet them face to face as fast as possible. How
many people do you think start this business and have that list ready to go?
Not very many.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it sounds simple, but most people don't do it.
Right.
And so since that's your advice, what is the power of doing that? Like what's the power that comes from taking those steps?
Yeah, well, it's really kind of a numbers thing. Roughly if you do that 10 times, that should produce one piece of business versus like, if you want to talk to strangers, you need to talk to like 100 before one of them will do it. And so the power of it is just like, it feels slower, but it's actually a lot faster.
Yeah, so say that again. So for every 10, people, conversations, appointments, you see one piece of business come from the people you work with?
Yeah. Every year.
So every 10 people who know you, like you, trust you, that you're in that conversational relationship with, they're getting one piece of business.
Yeah, you got to stay in a relationship, but yes, for sure.
And let me contrast that. When we were making those early calls, we had a spreadsheet where we were tracking this, nothing fancy. It was a Google sheet.
Sure.
I recall that Ashton was cold calling. We were calling people we knew. It took her 454 calls per closing.
Yeah. And she's great at it.
And she is. This is someone who is dedicated, awesome, doing great stuff. 454 to your 10 relationships.
Yeah, I think kind of fundamentally you have to decide, do I want to talk to people I know that may or may not have a real estate need right now, Or do I want to talk to people who I know have a real estate need, i.e. like an expired listing, but I don't know them? And if you choose that one, you just have to have 450 instead of what I say, 10? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So how does this philosophy and like what you're saying here shape what you're doing with JOG and Bolst and your career, the agents you're working with moving forward?
Yeah, so I mean, for us, even though we have we do work with people that we don't know, of course, but it just kind of informs the way we treat them and guide them throughout the process. Our goal is to turn them into a client for life and a future, referral source as well. And so, it just kind of helps us put a premium on the service that we're offering.
Love it. What else what other advice would you give to somebody who's just starting?
Yeah, a lot of this stuff we've figured out slowly over time. They can be sped up by by joining a brokerage or a team or someone that has a proven process for expediting everything I just said. And so, whether it's training, support, leads, but yeah, joining someone that has a track record of getting
that's a great, I love that advice. What do you think is most important? You mentioned like move 4 years into 4 months.
Yeah.
For somebody, what are some of the specifics they should be looking for if they want to accelerate that timeline so fast?
Yeah. So you need like proactive training, I would say, not just like if it happens to happen to me, then I'll learn it. We need to be proactive.
For sure.
Training. You need someone to guide you, like shadow, mentor opportunity. You just need to see it in action to kind of take it from the textbook to real life for sure. Yeah. And then, it takes a while. It does take some time to build up your own business. And so I think having some kind of lead system or lead opportunity is very helpful. For sure.
Yeah. I feel like the pairing of the training, the mentor, and then getting the real at bats, like actually getting to do it. Just really speeds things up super fast compared to I'm either spending 8 hours a day lead generating, I don't have any clients, or I'm going to 8 hours of classes a day, I don't have anything in the real world. I think that combo has been really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And, some agents I talk to that are starting out, like they spend money on leads up front. And I would definitely not do that. You can partner with people who have leads that, your split might be different, but also, you get an opportunity to make money.
If anyone has bought a lead, it's me.
Yeah,
to a detriment probably sometimes, but they don't all convert at the same rate. There's a different techniques to converting them, all that sort of stuff. To trial and error it on your own, which we have done a lot of, is very expensive relative to your point of a proven process that somebody's already done it hundreds or thousands of times and knows it's going to work.
Right, yeah, exactly. You're already going into a 100% commission job. Like that's plenty of risk. You don't need to also, max out your credit card on an unproven lead source.
Yeah, when someone could teach you and you could have success quickly.
Exactly.
Jarrod, as I reflect, way back to being an intern, I feel like I owe you because we didn't do formal reviews. We didn't have like the formal 360 review process going in 2009, and so I feel like I owe you to share some of the things that just really stood out to me that helped me know you're going to have a great career, that, it would be great for us to work together. And I think like one of those things is you always want to do things the best. You're always trying to figure out a better way to do things. And it was one of the first times, that I had worked with somebody where it's just like, you're doing stuff and you're figuring out and you're bringing ways to do better. And I think for anybody, whether you're starting out an intern or any role, to suggest in a way and try to improve things, it's just awesome. It's really awesome for the leadership to have that come into it. And then secondly, and we kind of hit this already, we're willing to do anything, right? There wasn't like, I'm not willing to crawl in this crawl space. I'm not willing to drive 4 hours today just to drop off one, piece of paper. Yeah. It's like whatever we had to do, you did it. And so, it really just developed this trust level of like, I know he's trying to do the best possible, and I know he will do anything that it takes to succeed. And I feel like when you've got that, you can just really have a level of like, hey, whatever we're doing moving forward, this is the person I want to do it with. And so I really appreciate that. And I want to log that on our 2009 and 2010 review for future reference.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that for sure.
Awesome, Jarrod. Thanks so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time, and I'm glad we got to share this. Your insights are so valuable from both your career, all the agents you've seen, and it's awesome to be able to share this in a podcast format so other agents can learn from it. So thanks a bunch. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.